It is exactly 15 minutes after 9 o'clock, 9:15. And we are moving along with news and views right here in Salam Media. And next we are going to be talking with Sandile Swana, political analyst. And of course, what is it with the ANC that have asked the electorate to give them another chance? They've briefed the media last Wednesday afternoon on its 2021 local government elections manifesto review and are saying that the party is expected to announce its mayoral candidates for the 4th of November elections in this coming week. Now, one wonders why they've been sitting on their hands, why they haven't made a decision. All the other parties are way ahead of them. They've already elected their candidates and they have really been punting their candidates. What's it with the ANC asking for another chance? Sandile Swana, good morning. Welcome to News and Views. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you, Julie, and good morning to your listeners.
So what's it with the ANC? Why are they so delayed? Is there a lot of infighting? What exactly is going on here that they haven't yet announced their candidate for the local elections? I mean, you drive through, Johannesburg, for example, and you see the DA dominating all the space, the polls with their candidate up there and promising wonderful things going ahead. Nothing at all from the ANC. And there's issues from the other parties as well. But let's start with the ANC.
Thank you, Julie. The African National Congress is making a bold request, which is to say the voters, I think you're mentioning the city of Johannesburg, for instance, in this case, the voters must use their votes and the taxpayers must support whatever outcome of that election to say the ANC must be given outright majority in the metros and in the municipalities more generally. Now, we all know that the decline at the polls of the African National Congress started in 2009 when they came back from the Polokwane conference and launched onto the trajectory that eventually was labeled, two labels at least. One was the state capture label, the second one was the 9 failed years, which are continuing, by the way, as we speak. So the issue of where did the decline come from? It came from an internal action of the ANC, which was kickstarted at the Polokwane conference by the ANC. It had nothing to do with the other parties. The decline of the ANC has been driven by the ANC. Now, they've not been able to field a list of councillors or even mayors for the metros across the board in South Africa. Now, there is instability. I mean, the Eastern Cape is in a hiatus. They are stuck. We don't even know whether they'll be able to produce a list of potential candidates. They are in court cases. In the city of Johannesburg or the region of Johannesburg, we know that the ANC fought and they went to look for ballot papers in the veld there to say they are robbing each other in their own elections. So there is internal chaos within the ANC. And lastly, Julie, we must not ignore the fact that because of the actions against, inside the ANC, actions against educated, clever blacks, and all sorts of other things, the more capable people have left and went to the private sector, into private business and all sorts of things. So as we stand, the people who are elected into the region, the Joburg region, for instance, there is no mayoral candidate there. There's no person who's got the caliber to be a mayor of Joburg in the ANC right now.
So obviously, they have promised to give us the names of possible candidates later this week. We wait with, bated breath to see what comes out. Let's look at the other parties. What's the situation with the EFF? They've lost a lot of ground, have they not? would you say that this is partially due to the fact that Malema was arrested and the tensions around, surrounding him and all of those debacles have hurt the EFF?
I don't know which numbers you are looking at, but if we stick to the Gauteng province for a moment, in the 2024 election, the EFF largely held its ground against the onslaught of the MK party, unlike in KZN where it was butchered by the MK party. Here in Gauteng, it held its ground, and we would expect that in 2026 local government election, the EFF will hold its ground. It may not present spectacular growth, but we don't expect it to suffer significant losses this year. So, and they have fielded a candidate, and that candidate is all over the media saying things and proposing things. So the EFF has done its bit by now, at least in terms of milestone relative to the ANC or even the DA. They are where we expect them to do. They are contesting. It's a whole nother matter whether the EFF is going to take the mayorship in Johannesburg. That's another discussion.
What are your predictions then? I mean, I alluded to the fact that wherever you drive through in Johannesburg, the DA seems to be so very prominently displaying and, wanting your vote for their mayoral candidate. And that, of course, is Helen Zille. And then let's look at when we look at national government and the government of national unity, do you think this might have hurt local elections going forward?
Are you talking about the ructions of the DA nationally with the Steenhuisen and all those fights that they had there?
Absolutely. And then also coming down to the local level, GNU local level. And, when you look at the ANC on the one hand, clearly not being prepared for the elections, they don't even have a candidate for Johannesburg, and it seems as if the DA is miles ahead. So let's look at the global picture.
Okay, let's start with some of the hard facts. If we forget the noise and we look at the hard facts that we have, and not hard facts that are still going to be generated, the ones that we already have, the DA actually lost a third of its support in the last election, right? So they probably need to grow by more than 40% to return to the level that they were at in 2016 in terms of the actual election results registered by the IEC. So they've got a mountain to climb out of the hole first. On top of that, the DA, since the last election, which was in 2021, between 2021 and 2026, the DA has not actually won a ward from anybody, not from the ANC, not from anybody. They've not taken any new wards from anyone. Fortunately for them, the wars that remained with them in 2021, they were able to keep until now. So if you take those two factors, the fact that they've not grown, and I forget the third factor, which is that in any case, in each ward, they didn't get both the ward vote and the proportional vote. So their vote is split. And there's more on the menu for the split vote now, the BOSA, the Mzansi, Rise Mzansi, and Action SA. Action SA, the one that has taken a lot from the DA, and is probably going in now to take the wards, to try and take the wards from the DA, in as much as the DA wants to contest probably directly head-on with MKP in taking wards from the ANC. And MKP, there's no question, they want those wards. So that is the situation. On the national front, that is another potential difficulty for the DA. Because if Steenhuisen in his articulation is correct, the DA is actually trying to please even the people who never voted for the referendum in favor of the FW de Klerk referendum. In other words, if the current DA is trying to please those people who were opposed to the new South Africa, which we now have, you are talking about moving to the right, racially the right wing, and the preservation of white capital and all sorts of things like that. As you do that, you actually annoy the colored voters in the Western Cape, for example, and then you also annoy the non-European voters generally in South Africa. So there are going to be difficulties.
Sandile, let's stick with the coloured vote in the Western Cape. We do know that what's happening in the Western Cape is unbelievable. I say this has become my mantra. The Western Cape has resulted in being a tale of two cities, is it not? You have the poorest of the poor and the middle class on the one side, and then you have the super rich that have come in and have taken over the Western Cape. The locals are understandably outraged. They can never, it seems as if owning a home is a pipe dream for them. How do you see all this playing out? A couple of years ago, the DA were boasting about the fact that they're the best municipality in the country, service deliveries at its peak, etc., etc., etc. But at the cost of whom? The people in the townships?
Yes.
So what does that look like?
I think, Julie, let's first qualify this discussion of ours because the Western Cape has contributed a lot to the formation of the new South Africa. The likes of Alan Busak came from that region, J. Gervel, Dala Omar. So a lot of revolutionaries and progressive people, high impact people came from the Western Cape, and the politics of the Western Cape were high value politics in terms of the liberation struggle. The non-European communities of the Western Cape between 1994 and today have sunk into poverty, right? And naturally, without high quality leadership, these issues become very difficult. And the simplest way of explaining them is to racialize them further. But as you are correctly analyzing it now, there is no question as you drive, whether you are driving through Cape Town, a beach road, those areas, or you are driving in the winelands and so on and so forth, the so-called colored people are underdogs. They have nothing, and they make 42% of that population. You cut across, the Africans have absolutely nothing. They live in squalor. They make 39% of the population. So you have about 19 to 20% of the whites and the foreigners. That is the heavy investors, the super rich investors who are buying properties and so on in Cape Town. You go through Greenpoint Stadium, right next to the stadium, there's a squatter camp. It's not white people in that squatter camp. As you go through the city, we're not yet even outside of the city. You find places that are as clean as spick and span. And you walk a distance, you find a squatter camp, a mini squatter camp inside the city. And in those squatter camps are pockets of black people. So the idea of economic justice, even development, the schools of the Western Cape, in the so-called colored areas and in the African communities, they are far behind. The education level as a percentage, percentage of graduates relative to the total population of Africans and coloreds is about 4 times less than that of whites. So the notion that the Western Cape, if you are a non-European, you can go to the Western Cape and you'll flourish, and it's far-fetched. There's no such a thing. It does not exist concretely on the ground.
Okay, we're going to have to wrap up. Let me wrap up with where I started out, and that is the ANC not being ready, haven't announced a candidate yet. Maybe we're a bit premature. They are promising that they will give us... They will release the name of a candidate later this week. Let's wrap up on that. Your thoughts, and whom do you think the candidate will be, and do you believe that they will be successful in the local elections here in Johannesburg, at least?
Yeah, in Johannesburg at least. So one of the names that has the potential, if he has the courage, would be Frank Chikane, a person of that order. But you need somebody with courage, because there's a lot of deadwood, a lot of the comrades in the council and a lot of comrades in the staff of the municipality in Johannesburg and in Tshwane are totally useless people, and we've known them to be useless for a long time, and they need to be removed. And we are going to need a leader who's able to remove people, whether he's the mayor or not the mayor, but just as a leader, those people must be removed.
That's wishful thinking is all I can say as far as the ANC is concerned. I wish I had more time to talk with you more regarding politics, but hopefully we will talk again. Thank you indeed for your input. Always a pleasure talking with you. It is exactly 9:31 a.m. News and Views on Salam Media.
Discover